Very specifically don't focus on any recurring revenue, not because it's not valuable. I mean, if anything, it's the most valuable thing in a company, but because if we can make sure that our new cash is more every month than it was last month, then that's a very healthy growing company, right? And then anything on top of that is kind of cheddar cheese. So I just made the decision a while ago. Same way we don't look at any of unqualified book calls because our value is simplification. I'm like, okay, anytime we talk about book call or taken call, it's only qualified. Anytime we talk about cash, it's only new cash that's coming. I can't think of one stage in a company where getting new cash in is not the number one priority because the number one reason why every business fails is a lack of cash. So I couldn't think of why that would ever be an issue. Now, eventually what would happen is you could now start to make another priority would be like keeping as much cash as humanly possible. But for example, even where we're at, like our first priority was just closing deals as much as possible, right? So new cash. Eventually I came to a point where I realized that, okay, I'm not gonna scale to where I wanna go by only closing new deals. So I need to add in client success, Ascension's backend. But if we just had client success and backend and recurring cash and like we weren't getting new people to come in, we would also hit a stagnation there as well. So it's like this order of operations where number one, in my opinion, should always be new cash. And there's something called negative churn in the SaaS world, which is where when you buy someone, when someone buys from you, they then buy more from you, like what we call essentials, et cetera. And it's like less than like 3% of SaaS companies have what's known as negative churn. So it's like, it's very difficult to get where your clients are. Hormozy says, you know, what if your next customer was the only customer that you had for the rest? How would you treat them differently? I think that's an amazing theoretical way to look at business. But at the same time, if you don't focus on getting new clients in the door, then you're not going to even have the money to pay a talented client success team to come in and make sure that your clients never leave. So, and I'm also in that business. If I was in like a pure MRR business, then like I'm sure I might change it up a little bit in what I focus on. This is specifically for our type of business. If you had to make everything that I'm talking about here is a list of priorities. So in my personal opinion, if you had to build a list of priorities out, it's always going to be number one is new cash. And if you ever were, like a lot of people in here, I'm sure many of you might want to eventually exit a company, the number one KPI they're looking at is how much is it growing month over month, year over year, and that's going to be very likely from new people coming in, new users. And that's why most SaaS companies will get tens of millions of dollars in funding because they are just trying to get as many users as humanly possible, regardless of their retention, their churn, whatever else it is, because that's like the biggest depictor of what someone would see as enterprise value. Obviously, if you have a 98% churn rate, that's a problem. But once again, I'm just saying the priorities would be, for me, new cash, then keeping the cash. Keeping the cash, and then new cash, then you could stagnate or even lose money, technically speaking.
If you want my help installing any of these systems in your business done for you, be sure to book a call with my team down below.